President Xi of China and Vladimir Putin of Russia met for about 4 to 5 hours recently to plot what they're doing to the world. No bankers have been held accountable for what they just did. Both parties are pretending like the 2020 lockdowns never happened. The Epstein client list is nowhere to be found. And the distraction, the Donald Trump arrest of Tuesday still hasn't happened, with the media reporting that a grand jury has to decide and may or may not do it. What's going on? And is this another Pied Piper strategy for the Democrats? Something to think about, something to talk about. Show starts now.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of Dream Rare Podcast. So the arrest didn't happen this morning. I felt like there was a chance that it wouldn't. And we're going to bring back the Tom and Jerry reference today. If you guys ever watched Tom and Jerry, it's an old cartoon, one of my favorites, where the cat always chases the mouse, and every episode he's like so close, but he just never gets there, right? That's American politics. Like, we're gonna keep Fauci accountable. Like, we're almost there. Just keep donating, and we'll get him soon. And then the left is like, we'll get Trump. We're like right there. It's gonna be Tuesday. And then it's just always moving. But anyway, this episode of Tom and Jerry, unsuccessful. Maybe next time, folks. Maybe next time. What's going on? I'm going to read just a New York Times article, not because I fully trust them, but I want to see the media perspective of why it's not happening right now and why I didn't wake up this morning to all the press. What's going on? Hopefully this is working on YouTube too. Just give me a thumbs up if you're on YouTube, because I don't see much. So they say in New York Times, a Manhattan grand jury could decide whether to indict Donald J. Trump as early as Wednesday now. So now it's pushed back to Wednesday. Potentially touching off a sequence of events that could include the unprecedented sight of a former president in handcuffs. But much about what comes next remains unclear. Prosecutors have signaled that an indictment is likely, but not a certainty. Before Mr. Trump can be charged, the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg must ask the grand jury that has been hearing evidence about the former president to vote on whether to charge him. A majority of jurors must agree to do so. So it's likely, it's very likely, but it's not for sure. They might have just head faked. Wouldn't that be interesting if they just head faked? Massive fundraising for both sides, a huge media spectacle, red meat for the Democratic base, basically, helping Trump out. Really, I politically on the right wing, I think this is just only like rallied people behind him. It's, it goes from like, oh, we should, ask questions to like, oh my God, get on our knees and pray. And it's like, I don't see that this hurt him. Let's just see a little more. The timing of any potential indictment, arrest, or arraignment is unknown and is likely to remain so after a vote is conducted. The investigation conducted by Mr. Bragg's office has been focused on Mr. Trump's involvement in the payment of hush money to a porn star during the final days of the presidential campaign. Well, if Trump paid her hush money, shouldn't she get arrested? Isn't it illegal? Shouldn't she shut up? Isn't that what the hush money's for? But maybe she should get charged. It's like, you take the hush money, you're supposed to hush, lady. No, I'm joking. But isn't that also not a joke? Isn't that how it works? I don't know. I'm not a hush money type of guy, but anyway. Let's see. They say, an unprecedented event, if Donald Trump is indicted by a Manhattan grand jury this week, it will be unlike any other in American history. Here's what we know. Preparing for an arrest ahead of a likely indictment. New York officials are making serious plans as some of Trump supporters signal that they intend to protest. They so badly want like a Charlottesville or a January 6th. They're like, please, Trump supporters, do something crazy, please, so we can pretend like the problem in New York is you and not Democrats and crime and petty theft and lockdowns and the fact that people are still acting like masked psychopaths. That's not the problem in New York City and Seattle and San Francisco. It's the big bad Trump supporters. They so badly want people to show up and do something stupid. We'll see what happens, but what's interesting to me, I'm going to play a clip of something that I thought was interesting. I want your opinion. Give me your opinion. Whether you like the clip or you don't, I don't care. But I want to say this real quick. I think it's hilarious that everyone's like, the feds want you to go protest in New York City. Don't go protest. And like even I heard Rudy Giuliani said, don't protest. And like a lot of people close to Trump that are like his like loyalists and politics are like, don't do it. And it's like the only one who said the other way was Trump himself. He's like, protest, 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 like screaming at all caps. And I just think it's funny that like, I'm not trying to be rude, but it's almost like Trump is like, I don't want to say the dumb dog because that's rude, but it's like everybody like looks up to Trump like, oh, he's our next president, he's our leader. But every time he says something, they're like, no, 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 that's not what he means. It's like dumb dog, like quiet down, but like, yeah, he's our leader. Yeah, he's the guy that's gonna lead us there. But just don't listen to what he says. But like listen to everything else he says, but not like don't do what he says. It's just like a weird dynamic between him and his supporters where they just act like Trump's like too dumb to understand things sometimes. Like when he oversells the vaccine, like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just dumb. He's a fool. He's confused. Don't listen to my leader. My leader doesn't lead good. But we want to follow him, but we just don't follow him. But we do follow him. We just make excuses for him. So it's like, does anybody not see that kind of odd dynamic where I'm trying to, I could have said that in a nicer and less rude way, but it's like his most popular loyalists are always like, nah, he didn't mean that. Like, imagine if you had a leader that actually meant what they said, or you believe them to the point where I don't know. It's very odd, but I have a few things to point out. But first I want to play this clip from Jesse Kelly, someone I follow on Twitter. And he's one of these guys that seems like he's in a similar boat as me. He's like, my vote is not sold to Trump. My vote's not sold to DeSantis. But he's getting a lot of flack because he's not just like a Trump fanboy. He made this clip yesterday and it went semi-viral. What do you think about it? Tell me the truth, whether you like it or not. Here it is.
You ready to be offended? The January 6 political prisoners have been locked in cages for 2 years. Many of them have public defenders. As you've seen, some of them have even taken their own lives. They've lost their careers, their reputations. Many have lost their spouses. Their families have broken up. And do you know that Donald Trump didn't pay any of their legal fees? And maybe right now you're sitting there saying, yes, he did. No, he didn't. His PAC paid for some of the legal stuff for the January 6th commission witnesses, not the poor schlups rotting in jail right now. And I'm not sitting here saying Donald Trump had an obligation to do that. But when Donald Trump took to Truth Social and he announced that he was about to be arrested by Alvin Bragg, he finished not only one post, but another post by telling people to protest. Protest. Go protest. Protest. Well, the last time people showed up to protest on behalf of Donald Trump, he went to Mar-a-Lago for 2 years and they rotted in a gulag. So kindly don't show up in New York City to protest on Donald Trump's behalf. You can be mad, you can fly your Trump flag, you can protest in your red area, you can post on social media. But if you show up in New York City with communist DAs, communist cops, communist FBI, communist judges, and communist jurors ready to throw you in federal prison for the next 10 years after they entrap you that day, frankly, you're so stupid you deserve to go to prison. And shame on him for abusing his followers. Because anytime you have followers, no matter who you are, you're going to have a certain percentage of them who will lay down in traffic for you, and they trust what you say, and they'll do what you command them to do. And a certain percentage of his followers are going to obey this command. And you know where he'll be? Nowhere while they rot. Oh, I forgot. He did raise some money for the January 6th political prisoners. Right about the time he announced he was running for president again about 15 minutes ago. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I'm right.
I didn't know there was an ad at the end, but I thought it was an interesting clip. Someone said we protest anywhere, F you. Okay, Dave's mad. Jesse was pretty mad. I mean, he was like turning red like a tomato. Some people said based, some people said, yep, facts, drama queen. It's a mixed bag. I think a lot of people agree with this. Some people didn't. My thought is this. Yeah, I don't know. Saying in all caps, protest with no like aim doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. The fact that he didn't get charged today, and they're saying even in New York Times, the reason I read New York Times is because I know that's like the other side, right? That's what the other side's thinking. And they're not even guaranteeing they're going to arrest Trump. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to pretend to. Obviously, against false political persecution, I'll quote unquote stand with everybody else. Although unlike everyone else, I know my opinion doesn't matter that much. Like I'm standing with him. It's like it's not going to do anything. But yeah, that's nice. I wanted to go back to this because this is just a thought of mine, and I don't really care what people think. But I remember this. This is a Salon, but this is from like the WikiLeaks type emails. I don't know if am I allowed to do this on Facebook and YouTube, or do I need like Chris Cuomo's permission or something? Anyway, Salon did an article, How the Hillary Clinton Campaign Deliberately Elevated Donald Trump with Its Pied Piper Strategy. An email released by WikiLeaks showed how the Democratic Party purposely elevated Trump to the leader of the pack. I wanted to go back to that because I thought it was super interesting. I don't know if you guys remember, but when the the WikiLeaks emails dropped and there was like a lot of stuff in there, and then CNN told you that you couldn't actually like read them yourself. You needed like Don Lemon to read them for you. They started banning stuff. I think it's been so long that I could probably talk about it again. But in general, one of the things in those emails that's been published by Salon and major mainstream media was the Pied Piper strategy, where Democrats, they might be evil. Some of them might legitimately be stupid. There are stupid Democrats, but some of them are actually smart. They're like evil genius. You know what I'm saying? So when people are like, oh, I see how everyone's acting, I'm wondering, why did they do this? And I'm not saying I have the answer, but I'm weighing it out. With Trump and Ted Cruz and Ben Carson, in their emails, they admitted, they didn't mean to admit it to the public, but it just leaked, that they purposely elevated Trump and these further right candidates that they saw in their eyes because they saw them as unelectable. So if they elevated them and took them seriously in the media, that it would actually hurt Republicans and they would lose the election. That's what they tried to do with Trump, apparently, which ended up backfiring. If that's what they didn't want, if they didn't want Trump to win and Republicans to win, then yeah, it backfired because Republicans won the 2016 election. But my question is, the Pied Piper story, if you guys remember, is a guy who like rounds up all the kids, plays his flute, and then walks them into the ocean. So it kind of begs the question is, I'm just curious. I don't know what you think. I don't have that opinionated of a stance to cry over it. Like everybody's getting so emotional, so angry. Here's my energy all year, okay? I'm not fighting over false paradigms. I'm not getting angry and emotional over a political conversation. Like there's so many broken, hysterical, like some people, like deeply disturbed people on both sides of politics who are just like releasing their demons online and getting mad at everybody. Like don't, find something more productive to do with your time. Like my vote is one vote. My opinion's my opinion. I don't say you have to agree. But with that being said, everybody is saying this is good for Trump, right? Elon Musk, this is good for Trump. This is going to make him win. 2 weeks ago, everybody, obviously there's like operatives and people that are just loyalists and they, but the average, I would say, consensus that I was feeling was like Trump might have been ahead in the polls. I don't believe the polls. It's going to change before the election. There's going to be debates. So I'm not really looking at the polls that much. All I know is right now, in my view, it's Trump and DeSantis. Like Nikki Haley, I hope she has no chance. Mike Pence has no chance. Mike Pompeo has no chance. It's going to probably come down to Trump and DeSantis at this point. That's all I know. Who's ahead? It doesn't really matter. It's going to change 50 times, in my view. With that being said, I noticed how once that arrest came out, everybody changed their tune. Every people were like, well, that's it. I have to vote for Trump now. DeSantis is done. It's Trump world. Elon Musk, who wants DeSantis to win, or he claims that. Even Elon Musk said if the Democrats charge Trump, this is going to make him win. You're basically helping him because he's not going to jail. You're helping Trump. So this is what I'm wondering. Let me know what you think. Are the Democrats just so stupid that they're going to help get Trump elected? Or are they operating in the Pied Piper strategy again, thinking, well, we know that Trump isn't going to get suburban moms as much as DeSantis. We know he's not going to get independents. We know that, we have a narrative against Donald Trump. We have the blueprint against Donald Trump. We know what we're going to say. And it would just be easier if we beat him. So let's just, put on this fake spectacle, charge him with something that's not going to stick or something that's not going to affect his chances of running and get the base behind him. I'm not saying they did that, but I'm just saying that's what the base is doing. Like a week ago, I even know people that stood up against medical tyranny, have known what's going on and think it's odd that Trump's really not spoken the truth about the vaccine, even though everyone else has. And now those same people are like, I'm with Trump. DeSantis doesn't have what it takes. He doesn't have what it takes because of one move by the Democrats to charge Donald Trump, a charge that, by the way, didn't even happen yet. When they say they're going to charge Donald Trump, he screams, protest, protest, protest in all capitals, protest, take our nation back. No signs of being like, watch out for the traps. Don't go here. Like where do you want people to protest? How are they going to protest? Like when are you getting charged? Are you even getting charged? Does it even matter? Why are you being so aimless? And then all the people like the Giulianis of the world who are Trump loyalists, they're all saying the opposite of Trump. They're like, yeah, Trump's our leader, but we just don't listen to our leader. Like, don't do what he said. Do the opposite of what Trump said. He's your leader. Just don't listen to him because he's wrong. Like, it's just all very like Tom and Jerry, in my opinion. It's all very fake. That's why my first thought was this is going to boost donations for Trump. Trump's going to get a record amount of donations in the next week. He'll get more money in the next couple weeks than he probably got in the last couple of months. Democrat media, right-wing media, everybody's going to get more clicks, more views, more attention, more, people paying attention to this new like kabuki theater. It's like, is Donald Trump going to get arrested? And then they can control you because you get to pick a side. You get to pick the hero or the villain. It's like, he's the hero or he's the villain. He's going to get arrested. We need to save him. I like Terrence, what's his name? Terrence Williams. He's a, comedian. He's like a Trump loyalist. Love the guy. Met him, texted him, like him, right? I like him. He's tweeting that Donald Trump is getting treated worse than Martin Luther King Jr. I'm not a Martin Luther King Jr. fanatic or anything, but Martin Luther King Jr. got assassinated. Trump is not getting treated worse than Martin Luther King. Maybe by the history books, but as far as by the government and stuff, like MLK got assassinated. So you look like a sycophant. You look like, like a Democrat saying that January 6th was worse than 9/11. It's just weird. Like, this is like the energy. People are posting pictures. Pray for him. Donate to him. Pray for him. Well, it's like people are so controllable based on a narrative. And that just makes me wonder, is it like a Pied Piper strategy that they just want to do that because they think it's an easier person to beat? And also, I want to say this is, to me, this is like the theater of it is no matter what side you pick, they're controlling your narrative. I'm going to use an example first that might bother people, but it's just what I see. When I was young and growing up, it was Mitt Romney versus Obama, right? Mitt Romney versus Obama. Most media, I didn't watch Fox News. Most media that I consume as a young guy was all saying Mitt Romney was evil. Mitt Romney was the villain. Mitt Romney was the villain. Mitt Romney's evil. Change will come. Biden, or whatever his name was, Obama is the hero. And it's this fake hero versus villain narrative. So Democrats say he's the hero. Republicans say he's the villain. Republicans think Mitt Romney's the hero. They think Obama's the villain. The truth is they're both just characters in a kabuki theater, and it doesn't matter who you vote for because Mitt Romney and Obama is about as different as white and off-white. You know what I'm saying? It's just like two shades of the same coin. That's the fake kabuki theater. When it comes to this, it's like no matter what side you pick of like Trump, we need to pray for Trump because he's getting persecuted harder than MLK, or the other side of it that it's like, oh my gosh, we need to send him to jail. You're in a theater that isn't addressing the Epstein client list. It isn't addressing the bipartisan tyranny of lockdowns. The Democrats will say it's Putin for inflation. Republicans will say it's Democrats. The truth is it's both of them. They both, it's China. Who else is working in the lab? The United States. So if you're going to blame the Chinese lab, you have to blame yourself because you were funding it and working there. But you notice that now they're going to use the gain of function narrative to just blame China for stuff that they were involved in. It's like there's always a fake narrative and they want you to pick a side, but it doesn't matter even if you're right because it's a controlled arena. It's like they control the story, they control the narrative, they control your mind, they control your time. You might have been right about Russia collusion, but if you spent 3 years talking about it and thinking about it, that's 3 years that Democrats stole from you that didn't actually amount to anything. 2 years of Republicans having all chambers of or House, Senate, presidency, they didn't do anything. It's Paul Ryan's fault. Well, who, complimented him on his way out? I have the screenshot of Donald Trump saying, nobody can question your legacy. We're all with you, Paul Ryan. But now there's a new fall paradigm. It's DeSantis versus Trump, and DeSantis is cozying up to Paul Ryan, and Trump's the anti-establishment outsider. He only endorsed Mitch McConnell. He only endorsed Paul Ryan. He still hangs out with Lindsey Graham. His entire cabinet was filled with swampers. But here's the new false paradigm kabuki theater for brainwashed Republicans is like, Trump is this outsider who's just totally fighting the establishment, and DeSantis is an insider. All the people that you're saying that DeSantis hangs out with are also people that Trump worked with, and people that Trump is still close with, and people that Trump would take their money if they wanted to give it to him. They just don't want to. He endorsed Romney. He endorsed all of these people. And after, I'm not talking about before, after Paul Ryan, quote unquote, stopped him from doing anything, Trump was still with Paul Ryan. It's all a fake show. And it's funny because like some of the smartest influencers are falling for it. It's like high school for adults. It's like kindergarten. It's like the school dance. Everybody wants to be cool. Everybody wants to make a statement. I think a lot of people honestly are nervous to tell the truth because people act like such psychos. Like if you were like, friends with liberals, or your family's liberals, or you work for liberals, and you came to the conclusion in 2018 that Trump wasn't that bad. He's not that bad. I mean, it's an overreaction. People are freaking out about him. Did you want to tell liberals about it? No, you kept it to yourself. They called it the silent majority because liberals were acting like psychopaths. It was like if you disagreed with liberals, they acted, not all of them, but a lot of them. So you just kept it to yourself, and they called it the silent majority. To me, this is the new thing on the right. It's like if you're not a total sycophant, like religious cult member for Trump, then you might as well just keep it to yourself because people will act like a psychopath towards you. They'll be like, you don't understand. You don't understand. It's like, you don't understand. Trump complimented Paul Ryan after 2 years of working with him, said his legacy couldn't be questioned, and said everybody's with Paul Ryan. That's after he worked with Paul Ryan for 2 years, after Paul Ryan stopped him. He endorsed Mitch McConnell in 2020 and said he's part of the MAGA agenda. He's on stage in 2023 with Lindsey Graham. He's still selling the vaccine, saying it saved 100 million lives and it's a great achievement and it's so great. He wants credit for it, yet his cult members say, don't give him credit for it. It's the Fauci vaccine, and I call it the Trump vaccine. And they say, oh, you're so messed up. Who paid you to say that? Have you ever watched a Trump interview? He wants credit for the vaccine. He wants his base to take credit for the vaccine. It's become a cult where everybody just like either does exactly what he says or just makes up an excuse when he says something else. It's the weirdest thing. So most people are like silent now. They're like, I'll just ignore it because people are going to lash out at me. With that being said, why do you think Democrats are doing this? Obviously, this is driving massive fundraising to Donald Trump. This is boosting Donald Trump in the polls. This is making people on the fence say, I have to vote for Trump. This is making people who used to have a brain saying, oh, this ends DeSantis and it's got to be Trump now. Nobody wants to ask him who his cabinet's going to hire. Nobody's looking at the fact that he worked with the swamp. Nobody's looking at the fact that he still lies about the vaccine harder than Bill Gates and isn't to be trusted. It's his world now because of a thing that a Democrat did. To me, it looks like a Pied Piper strategy. Maybe Democrats are stupid, but I don't think they're that stupid, honestly. I think that they have a trick up their sleeve, whether it's to try to get him not to run or they think it's just an easy target because outside of hating Trump, they have no identity. They have no agenda. Their agenda is just anti-Trump. And with Republicans, this is like an interesting thing too, is I said this, I want to say in 2019, 2018, because I saw it coming. I'm all for voting for Trump in 2020. I'm all for letting the best candidate win. I'm all for people going to Trump things, and I'm not trying to take any shine away from Donald Trump. He deserves what he's created, and he's a legend in his own right. With that being said, I can tell the difference between an influencer and a conservative, like whatever news guy, that has their own identity and their own spirit, and people that are just professional, as I call them, bobbleheads now. And I saw this in 2018, 2019, is like a lot of people never want to let Trump go. Like they're desperately afraid to lose the Trump brand because they have no brand of their own. So it's like at a certain point, whether Trump runs in 2020 or 2024, he's about to be like 84 years old after his term, and you got to move on. Like Reagan didn't stay forever. George Bush didn't stay forever. Obama didn't stay forever. Trump can't stay forever. Like eventually there's going to have to be a new guy. There just has to be, whether it's in a year, now, 5 years, 20 years. But when you talk to a lot of these sycophants, they don't have any identity outside of Trump. So they're like, it's going to be 8 years of Trump, and then 8 years of Ivanka, and then 8 years of Don Jr., and then 8 years of Barron Trump. And I thought it was a joke at first, because it was, but a lot of people really believe that. It's like they actually don't want to imagine. And then when you tell them, I've had conversations off camera, I'm not going to say with who, and they have like a meltdown because they're not going to do this in front of you, but behind. What if that is true? What if he isn't who I thought he was? What we're screwed. We're screwed. Like, they have no life outside of Trump. They believe in Trump more than they believe in Christ. So it's like they literally think America's doomed if Trump doesn't save them, which is hilarious, because it's like, even if he helps us, he can't do everything. It's a selfish thing to throw it all on his back and be like, he's going to save me, and if he doesn't, I'm screwed. It's pathetic. It's like, what do you think's going to happen when he's 85? Don't you think he's got to pass the torch eventually to somebody else? No, it's going to be him for, like, these people have no life, no identity. They hang out with him. They eat at Mar-a-Lago. Their entire brand is just sucking up to him. So it scares them to think that he might not be there one day, because then they have nothing to do. They have no identity. They have no brand. They have no brain, you know? And it's very weird. It's very odd. My thing with this next election is I just hope people make each other better as far as Trump and DeSantis. But it looks like DeSantis is trying to execute like things that he thinks people will like, and Trump is trying to Stormy Daniels DeSantis. He's trying to drag him down on a personal scandal, which is what the Democrats do. Even Republicans against Trump, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't even see other Republicans do that to Trump. It was the media, it was CNN, it was MSNBC trying to say Billy Bush grabbed him by the, you know what. I didn't see Republicans trying to take Trump down off of stupid personal scandals, but that's what Trump's doing to DeSantis, you know? It's just goofy to me. It's like, to me, that shows like, it's like, that's the route we're going to go. We're just going to play dirty politics. You're not trying to get better, improve. You just deserve it. And everyone thinks you deserve it, but you don't even have to like say who you're going to hire. To me, I see it going one of two ways. I mean, I don't really care either way, but say Trump does win and Trump gets into office, I think he's going to hire the same exact type of people, and I'm going to laugh hysterically. It's like he's going to hire Mitch McConnell's wife, pharmacy lobbyists, a bunch of losers, a bunch of shills. And like, it's like, what did you think was going to happen? Why, like, why would something change if you don't even address it? You just like keep falling for these like false narratives. So we'll see what happens. Let me see real quick. Someone said RFK. I mean, he'll definitely add to the conversation, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to say this with the arrest. We'll see if it even happens. Even left-wing media is saying it might not even happen. If it doesn't happen, what a massive money grab for both sides of politics. What a massive fundraising, and what a massive boost to Donald Trump's campaign if they don't arrest him. If they do arrest him, it could go two ways. One, they try to prevent him from running, which would not be good for him, obviously, or nothing happens. The charges don't stick, or super small, and it doesn't matter, and he wins anyway. To me, this is a massive Trump win. It's only helped him, and that's where you have to ask yourself the question, are Democrats really stupid, or are they purposely doing it because they know that he's an easier candidate to beat, or they know they have the strategy to defeat him in an election, or so they think. I have no idea, but all I know is like the way people act is so predictable. It's just like, oh, okay, you're gonna do that because they did that. It's interesting. I'm not really seeing where this is going. Someone said, let's see, win for Trump. Someone said the president doesn't matter. Jesse said, you're so lame. All you do is talk and criticize. Where your action? What have you done for your country? I mean, I wouldn't say I really criticize, but I'll walk you back 30 years. There used to be things called journalists, and I understand I'm not a veteran, or I'm not putting myself on a pedestal like I'm a UFC champion or anything, but everybody plays their role. And in media, there used to be journalists, and journalists used to hold big pharma accountable, and journalists used to question both presidents, and journalists used to question the wars. And when lobbyists came in and swallowed up both parties, journalists used to talk about it. Now social media works with big pharma. Both parties are completely captured. The donor billionaires have bought out both sides, even your favorite politicians, and now we have a media complex who does absolutely nothing. People don't even like Fox News anymore because they turned on Trump at a weird time. That didn't even make any sense. And then as far as right-wing influencers, most of them are just professional carpet, grabbers or whatever. I don't know, like coattail riders. So I'm trying to do journalism and news analysis. And for somebody with a camera and, my own production, I've gotten like 800, 900 million. We're almost at 1 billion total views. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So that's my role. It's not criticizing or hating. I'm not hating him personally, but if he takes $1 million from Pfizer and sells their country out to big pharma, I can't help but notice that I'm one of the only people who will mention that. Like, I'm sorry that other people don't do news analysis. I'm sorry that you think it's criticizing. But, I've solved this mystery, and you could tell by my energy, I'm not even upset. People, it's not that they want me to stop, quote unquote, criticizing or doing reporting. They just want me to stop shattering their false paradigm. That's when they get upset. When a Christian says to me on Twitter, "Oh, you shouldn't throw stones at a glass," if you shouldn't be pointing your finger if your hands are dirty, don't talk about lobbying money. I look at their Twitter feed and it's all them criticizing Democrats and it's all them calling out Democrats. So I'm like, "Oh, you're one of those idiot, loser, fake Christians that just uses Bible verses to be a hypocrite, where it's like you're projecting onto me." It's like, all you do is talk about Democrats, and all you do is question Democrats and question the narrative. You just don't want me to question Republicans you like because you have this godlike complex around Republicans. So it's not a Christian verse you're giving me. You just want me to do what you want to do. So, I've solved the big mystery. It's like people don't want me to stop doing what I'm doing. They want me to stop shattering their false paradigm. It's not like they want me to sit here and say kumbaya and never question anything ever. They don't want me to. If they actually wanted me to do that, I'd respect them. I'd be like, "No, you're actually right. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should go build a house and live in the woods." I agree. It's not like I do a perfect job. I'm like, I would agree with you. Yes. But 10 times out of 10, when these people say this to me, they don't want me to, they just want me to stop shattering their illusion. If I say Joe Biden took $1 million from Pfizer, it's good reporting. If I say Hillary Clinton did an evil vaccine scheme that was a socialist scam, that's good reporting. If I point out the fact that Trump did it, now all of a sudden I'm hating. Now all of a sudden I'm criticizing. Now all of a sudden they throw a Bible verse at me that they don't actually apply to themselves and hide behind their, and hide behind it like there's some sort of Jesus figure. It's like I've cracked the code of what people want. And it is what it is. Someone said, "You're just generally wrong and you're naive." I have to go in a couple minutes because I'm going to be on someone's show. What am I wrong about? This is an open forum, you could say. I see what's going on. It's a fake little circus. I don't care what people think. If you want to buy into it, if you want to believe Trump's the outsider fighting DeSantis, who's the insider, and Trump's totally not in on the same things that DeSantis is not, he's totally can't be bought, even though he already got bought. He totally doesn't take donor money, even though he already took donor money. He totally wouldn't hire the swamp after he hired the swamp. He's totally not working for Big Pharma, even though he did work for Big Pharma, and he still sells their product bigger than Bill Gates. If you want to believe this fake paradigm that people are painting in the right-wing media, you can believe it. It's like Democrats. Millions of them just repeat the same lies over and over. Seth Meyers, Trevor Noah, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, they all repeat the same lie to the point where millions of Democrats walk around like robots and they believe the lie because they heard it in so many different places. So they think it's real, but it's not real. It doesn't matter how many people lie. It's not true. Same thing is true with a lot of right-wing influencers. They're brainwashing people. They all say the same lies in unison to cover up for corruption and to cover up for bipartisan stuff. It is what it is. If you want to believe that only Joe Biden prints money and the Democrats are going to the Republicans are going to cut the deficit, you could believe that. That's fine. I don't care. But it's not true. It's not true. Republicans also do socialism. Republicans also print too much money. Republicans don't cut the deficit. They raise it up, in some cases even more than Democrats. But it's Tom and Jerry. That's the theme. It's Tom and Jerry. We're almost there. We're almost there. You put the carrot. Oh, my arm got caught in the mouse hole. We almost had the mouse. Come back next week. Come back next week. Donate to me. Donate to me. Protest. Donate to me. We almost got Jerry. We're so close. And then the Democrats do the same thing. It's like a giant game of Tom and Jerry that they just are always so close, but they just never get there because that's kind of like the show that you're watching. So if you want to buy into it, that's fine. I'm just, at a certain point, it's like, grow up, but it's all good. Someone said, do our votes get counted? I mean, I think they get counted, but voter ID should be a thing. They should count the votes in under 3 hours. They shouldn't take 3 days. Anytime they take 3, 4, 5 days, it's not going to be as accurate or fair as counting in like 3 to 4 hours. So I honestly, and I'll end on this note. The funniest thing is, like, I feel like DeSantis in many ways in Florida kind of cleaned up the voter roll. And it's like, instead of just complaining about it, he actually just figured out how to make it more fair. And I'm not saying he's perfect. I don't trust him either. But it's like, at a certain point, you got to stop buying into this like circus of personality and watch people's actions and demand, whether it's Trump or DeSantis, demand that they actually do something. Because politics is a game of talking about it, fundraising off it, running people in circles. And a lot of times they never solve these problems. So, you know, whether it's Trump or DeSantis, just have a spine, have a brain, don't just walk like a zombie, and demand that they actually do something as opposed to just complain about it. That's my thoughts. I got to go. I'm on a show at 12 o'clock. I'm going to be late, but appreciate you guys. God bless. And I'll be somewhere in a second. It's a pretty big show. If you watch it, you might see it. Have a good one, folks. Let me know your comments in the comment section. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, Stay Blessed long sleeve, God is Great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk. For $5 a month, you can help support me, support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description, or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying. So I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/DreamRareChat or @DreamRareChat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. DreamRareChat at Telegram. My Instagram is @DreamRare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And DreamRareLinks.com. That's DreamRareLinks.com. Has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at DreamRareLinks.com. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. You already know I'll be back